Yes, I can move my mouth. I don't have to worry about it. You look like a serial killer.
Oh, unlike you, the bandit from the Wild West. Dagmar's got a whole like bandana around. She looks like she's about to stick up a fucking freight train going across.
Well, you gotta make money somehow these days.
Yeah, and shit is rough out there. I look like I'm Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. Scorpion, get over here. I got this kind of, I can wash this one as well. That's why my friend gave it to me. Actually, I have a few in storage as well, but she had an extra one, so I gave her one.
We're recording?
Yes.
Very good.
We've got some cameras. We're going to do it. We've got the next episode of The Comedy Guy here.
Hi, Comedy Guy.
We're doing 4 podcasts this week. Hi, weird blonde lady. Who are you? No, we've got Dagmar Lamp here. Dagmar Lamp.
I like to laugh. I'm no comedy woman, but...
Oh, you're doing great.
Oh, thanks.
Now, so, introduce yourself for our guests again. This is the second time you've been on, and Wikipedia calls you Estonian journalist.
Yeah, I wrote that.
Yeah.
Yes, now I'm calling myself a journalist, author, and also a ghost hunter, former blogger. So...
Former blogger, we've moved on.
Yeah, we moved on. Now I'm ghost hunting. Or I was ghost hunting before all the shit went down. And... I can't wait to go back out there.
We know all the ghosts have corona, which is the big thing that we need to socially isolate ourselves away
now
from
you
ghosts.
have to stay away from them as well.
Yeah.
And it's really bad for my ghost business.
Swear to God, if the police see you and like 2 ghosts in one public place, they're going to come in, you got a
It's
100
gonna
euro
be
fine.
bad for me and the ghosts, because like if you really, really want to see them, and then you get to see them and hang out with them, and fucking corona.
The corona comes along. Is that a camera even on? Yeah, it's on. I don't know. I don't know technology. That's the...
I think this one is on, so it's fine.
That one's definitely... Oh, as long as my camera's on, then
Exactly.
everything is just fine.
So the thing with bandana also means that I can't see much. And
yes.
since I have been in self-isolation for 20 days and I feel really, really hypocritical being here, I might get woozy and also forget how to speak to people.
Great.
It's going to be prime content.
But we're allowed to do this because it's public. It's a private place, and there's 2 of us.
Yeah, and there's at least 6 feet between us.
There is some time. You got there. You got good with the mic.
Yeah, I want.
Yeah, you can sit back.
I want to do us
just sit back. Yeah. You don't have to be like that. So we're here. Repeat again. How many days you've been in self-isolation?
Postimees told us on 11th of March to stay at home. And I think it was 13th of March when the emergency situation was called. So 20 days. I have been in this town only once. And oh my God.
How do you get food?
I actually, you see, I don't know if you believe in horoscopes. If you're like normal person, then of course you do. And I'm a rat. Right. Like this Chinese calendar. I'm a rat, and you know how rats are, they collect stuff. So I have been like collecting all sorts of beans and canned tomatoes, and my fridge was full. So I have like made few trips to local shops, just to speak to the ladies who work there. But my poor kid, she hasn't seen anyone, and it's really weighing on her. She's 8. We're homeschooling as best as we can, and it has been tough.
Are there classes online or lectures or something she can watch from the teacher?
Yeah, she has some YouTube things, and actually the teacher has been really, really understanding. There are not a lot of things to do, and it's just us. We really can't like mobilize ourselves because I have to really work very hard. Yeah. And I have been doing this home office thing before, but it was when I didn't have to homeschool as well. So now I have just like let it go. When I work, she does whatever she does, usually just plays on a computer or draws or something or plays with a cat. And then during the evening we cry.
Wow. It's real fun over at the Lump household.
Yeah.
Come over, we're crying tonight. It's
like every night. But I think I know there are people who are doing way worse. For example, one of my near and dear persons. One of the person who is very near and dear to me. She's also a nurse. Now she got tested and she's positive. Dang. And she can't see her children. And she's all alone. Also has been fighting for us. So yeah, it could be worse.
Dang, but those first responders are out there doing such a good job. Jesus. And then has she at least got is there a baby daddy around? Is it a stable household?
The kids are at their father's and there are people who can deliver food and stuffs, but it has been, I think, 6 days. And yesterday she lost her sense of taste and smell. And she feels fine now, except for the smell thing. And today she sent me a picture of a burnt toast because you can't even imagine how much you rely on your senses when you're living. Yeah. It's really dangerous and also very weird. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about that. You lose your sense of taste. I mean,
yeah, it's so freaky though.
Yeah, I can't believe. I hope Petri Pizza's still open because that's the fucking prime time. People haven't got any taste buds left. This is what you want to be buying. That or maybe the burger place or something.
I was listening to a Cracked podcast and they mentioned that there is always one person working at Domino's who knows when the war is starting because the Domino's is near the Pentagon. And when the shit hits the fan, the orders from Pentagon for Domino's pizza go way up because they stay in and they have to eat pizzas there. And like I heard the Domino's is not very good pizza. So that was a thing they made fun of.
That's pretty average. That's funny. And then the guy, yes, hello, I am here working at Domino's near Pentagon. I am good immigrant. I have job. What is problem, right? And this is how Putin's finding everything out.
Oh my God. What is Putin up to these days, I wonder?
He's loving it. Putin, it's all his plan. I'm sure it's his plot. 100%. It's his plot. He put this all no, we got nothing in Russia. You're all sick. You can't sow the seeds of discourse. I don't know. Actually, I don't know.
Well, they are very sick over there. Oh my God, it's really hot under here. Oh my God.
We start talking.
And now I'm touching my face.
No, you can't get paranoid. That's what I do. I go out, I put the latex gloves on, wash the hands, but then you come back and you go, but I touched my phone when I was out. So I better disinfect my phone. But now I touched my phone before I disinfected it. Now I touch my hands again. And you can't let the terrorists win.
Yeah. The terrorists of virus. But the anxiety, like I told you last night, you asked if we're still on for tonight. And I was like, I am a person with anxiety disorder, and it has been really, the baseline of anxiety is so high that even when I'm working or doing anything else to get the mind off it, you're still kind of thinking about it. And I can't breathe sometimes. And then, of course, I think about, well, the virus also makes you not breathe well. And it has been like the spiral. But yet again, I know I'm really lucky, so can't really whine about it. But I want to.
Look, it's fair enough. I mean, there could be many. We're all having different reactions to this. And if you're predisposed to feeling anxiety and feeling that way, but is there something particular? Is there a particular worry or fear that you have?
Well, yesterday I was reading those people who got sick in Saaremaa. 4 people, told in a great detail how it all went for them. And it was the, how do you say in English, light version of the disease, which actually just means that you're really sick, but you don't need hospital care. And then I was reading it, how you can't breathe, you can't do anything because you're so tired and everything aches, well, like flu. But I've never been in a flu because I have a vaccine. And now I just, the worst scenario for me is that I get sick and I don't have anyone who can take care of my kid at the same time. Where will she get food? I'm sure I'll figure something out because...
So your concerns seem to come from the present day. You're not... Do you think about the longer term stuff? Does that occupy...
Oh, you mean...
I'm not trying to keep you up at night, but you worry, okay, it makes a lot of sense. You're a mother. Hey, if I get it tomorrow, what's going to happen to the kid? This sort of stuff. But what about...
economy, yeah.
Yeah, economy, jobs, the how the hell fuck is society going to be in 3 months' time?
Today we got the news that in Postimees group there will be also pay cuts. It's going to be 30%, but it's only going to be for a month and a half.
30%, okay, because that's the government thing. They're putting 30.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with then the Department of Labor can help you.
Yes.
Or the firm. And it has been not shocking because we kind of saw it coming because the ad sales are down, even though we have so many readers on our site. We've never had so great numbers. But when the things get bad, then people don't want to buy advertisements and they're going to deal with their own crisis. And I saw that coming. And since I'm a team leader, then my main worry is about my team and how it affects them, because I'm pretty stable and I have lived as a single mom with a net income of 500 euros. So I think I'll be fine. But what is this noise?
Yeah. Okay. I apologize if you hear a noise, a squeaking. It's the windowsill, the flashing on the windowsill. It's metal.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like rats.
Yeah. No, in the wind it goes up and down, and on that side it's rubbing on the concrete. And because it's on the far side, so we can't reach around to like cut it or pull it or something, like pull ourselves out. Because
Great place for a studio, man.
Right, and the last thing you want to do right now is be doing some Spider-Man gymnastics out the window when the hospitals aren't keen to deal with you. So when it's windy, there is a background sound. I'm sorry.
I think the listeners are fine. It's just me and my train of thought. But
yeah, you're like, rats? Have the rats got corona? No.
Black Death. But yeah, I want to be optimistic because I have seen those motivational quotes online that say that we're going to come out of this better as better people and as a better society, and we will be more grateful. And I so much want to believe that. I really do. But all I'm thinking is jaanipäev is going to be a fucking shitfest. Everyone is going to be so drunk on top of each other. And I don't know, man.
This is what we don't know. To me, this is the big. When's it gonna pass?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be? I think May. I think May is out.
I hope so.
I feel quite sure of it right now. The government hasn't extended the official deadline, but
Not yet.
I'm expecting that to come.
Well, Trump
soon.
Trump said Easter. He has this illusion that it's gonna be Easter, that it's fine for them, but we're kind of just starting. But I think we're moving away from this panic mode.
Sure.
And also, I hope it's not going to be as bad as it is in Italy, where they have to like store the bodies in hockey stadiums and whatever. It's going to be tough emotionally for people who will lose people to this illness, because it's so, as I gather, it's so, the procedures, how do you say this beautifully, get rid of the dead person who died of coronavirus. You can't really let their family say goodbye.
Sure.
And that's going to be really tough because you don't have this closure. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not going to get very bad.
It doesn't seem to be. I think we've done the right thing in Estonia. Like, I mean, when you start thinking, like, is it going to be like Italy? Like, we don't have thousands of people to kill.
Yeah, that's true.
We can't fill a fucking hockey stadium even when it's a hockey game, let alone...
That's true.
Where are these live people coming from to make dead people? So.
But how are you feeling? Like, you ending up in Estonia, there could have been so many different outcomes for you in, like, if you think about places where you could have been ending up at this time, different countries. So how does it feel to be in Estonia?
I think the Estonian response is quite okay and quite good. And at the time, I made a comment on one of the podcasts we did maybe a week or two ago, like, for the first time ever, I agreed with Martin Helmer. And that was a tough one because you're like used to going, oh, that guy's a fucking idiot, and he is. But he was like, let's lock it down. And you start going, Martin, isn't that what you've always wanted though?
Yeah,
isn't that what you always? It's like Martin, at this time, Martin Helm's like, guys, now it's time for peace. Okay? Now it's time. Yeah, because you got what you wanted, you fucking Casper the Ghost motherfucker. But that was the time, that was the correct, even when Yuri was like, yeah, we're still going to be all right. Martin's like, lock it down. And you have to, the one time they're right, you got to give him props.
Yeah, and I can't wait for this to be over, and then I can be annoyed by them again.
I think the Estonian response is good, because I'm glad I'm not in Australia. We're such a bunch of morons in Australia. Oh, really? Like, they fenced off Bondi Beach, but there's still some fucking idiot in his little dick sticker Speedos, his little budgie smugglers. And he's like, mate, I want to go to the fucking beach. Oh, I've got to get in there. And he's like trying to get through the fence and shit like that. No, you can't keep me. It's my beach. You can't.
Oh, my God.
And now they're talking like, why don't we partition off the beach with fences? Like, God, just fucking stay off the beach, you stupid prick.
Well, it was kind of the same at Stromy Beach, I heard. But I don't know.
I think I think we're used to it here. I think we've got a good density of people. I think
And also, we don't like other people as well very much.
Tim and I were talking, Tim's from Ireland, and from Australia, we got that common sort of Anglo heritage, he and I, in our culture. Like, we both distrust the police, desperately distrust the police from our cultures. That's like, in Australia, the police were the original soldiers, back 200 years ago. They were oppressing people, and we have a pretty strong police state. Like, I have grown up with the fear of police. Like, they're fine. An individual copper is all right. I'm not trying to say they're cunts, but if I can avoid the police, I will definitely avoid the police. And the first thing I've noticed in Estonia is you guys like the police.
I really, really like the police.
I love my good friend Roger Andre. He's so young and naive, and he's like, "Oh, the police are here to help me." And Tim and I are like, "No, they're not. No, but they are."
Well, but your good friend Mariana Ubaleht is now working for the police.
Exactly, Mariana from Dissident podcast is working in PR for the police, and that's
oh my God, you look so creepy right now.
How do I?
Well, it was the yeah.
But you guys are. Don't take this the wrong way. You're socially obedient.
Yeah.
Like, you did it. Like, Australians are like, no, mate, you'll take me alive. Fuck yeah. This is the gold rush. This is for Captain Cook. This is for Steve Irwin. Get a dog up here. Like, we will never surrender.
This is for Steve Irwin. Yeah, of course.
And it's not like you guys surrender, don't get me wrong, but there's some sense of national unity that you've got, that you'll come together to get over this time. You remember, I guess.
I think there's two reasons for that. First reason is that during 90s, when shit was really bad, and as you know, my other podcast, Eesti roimad koos Andres Anveltiga, which is about crime in Estonia during 90s, we talk about this crazy time and how it was really bad for the police as well, because they didn't have any resources. There was one episode we talked about how they were trying to catch a serial killer, and they had only one car per department, so the police had to take a tram. So yeah, but they did it. They somehow pulled us through this awful post-Soviet period and pulled us to Europe. Yeah. And the other part is that police has a really, really good PR team. They have been on their PR game for last 10, 15 years very well. They have very good professionals who have good universities behind them, education, and they have been really smart about this. So I think these are two main reasons. Sure. And of course, yeah, we like old slave nation. We like to follow orders.
I think it's real. I think it's genuine. I think the police are genuinely good, and every interaction that I've had with an Estonian officer has been exceptionally fair. The speeding fines that I've got out of, the guy started to call me the police whisperer at one stage. I could be like, "Oh, officer, I'm very sorry. I swear, I got pulled over And then not only was I speaking English, so the officer is like, but I know how to speak to a police officer, which is you back off, you let them have dominance, you admit what you did, you cooperate in every way possible, you take a lower tone that says, I will listen to you. I just think Estonian police weren't used to that. Like they're used to some getting, Mida, hot dog, fuck yourself, right? And I just go like, yes, officer, I'm very sorry. You're right, officer. I was going over the speed limit. You're correct. I did not see the sign. I think he just, that in English just makes him go, on your way.
Didn't you also drive without driver's license for a while?
years and years. And so because of the 1 year thing, that after I was legally supposed to drive for 1 year on my Australian license. And then after that, I was supposed to go and get an Estonian one, but I didn't get an Estonian one for like 6 years. And I kept getting pulled over and the police didn't know about this rule. So...
and wasn't it, I don't know if you have talked about this on your podcast before, but I remember you told me the story when I was interviewing you like 5-6 years ago. And they got the knowledge of this rule after Justin Petrone was... pulled over, and it was like this huge media thing because he lost his license, and it was after Robbie Williams concert, I think.
Something did happen to Petrona.
Yeah. And then everyone suddenly knew about this rule.
Fucking Petrona, I've said before, sitting on his golden throne, Petrona printing, throwing books around with his wand and his cape. I don't know. Very, very Justin style to then go and make a huge fuss about something afterwards.
He was very hurt.
Bless him. Don't make a fuss. That's the thing. I think I can talk about it now because it's been so long. But I was in an accident. Like I hit a guy from behind.
Oh no!
He hit a guy, and then I had an insurance claim and the whole thing.
Oh, okay. The guy was in the car.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sorry. I hit another car. And then they hit another car, and no one was hurt. But the police had to be called, and we sat in the back of the van and filled out the police report. The police never asked me. Like, I went through that whole thing technically without a proper license.
Wow.
Police never asked me. Insurance never asked me. Because, so it's not a bad deal, okay? It's not a bad deal at all.
But do you have a driver's license right now?
I have an Estonian driver's license. I was having a problem to get through the written exam. Because as I understand, the way that many Estonians get through the written exam is by rote learning it. Just learning by heart. Learning, you get the exact questions. And you learn the exact question with the exact answer. And then that's when you go and do it.
It's called rote learning.
Rote, R-O-T-E, rote learning.
Okay.
And there exists no such version of the questions in English. Like the questions in English are grammatically incorrect.
Oh yeah, I remember.
They don't make sense. And if I talk to Stuart, who then might have talked to some people even before his time, they haven't been updated. We could probably date it at least 15 years. At least 15 years those questions haven't been. And it's all like, yes, you go through stop sign and then is it A or B? Fuck you. Like, and the only way that I did it 4 or 5 times I did the written exam, basically brute forcing it, learning like, oh, I got that one wrong. I don't understand why, but it's A and C. And next time I remembered, oh, that's A and C. And I brute forced my way through the written exam. Okay. Then the driver's exam my one was only 30 minutes. There was still some leniency for swapping it over. I was all prepared for an hour, whatever it is, an hour and 20 with the guy. And I get in with Igor, the driving instructor, and he's like, no, 30 minutes. We drive around Mustamäe, we are done. And I'm like, why did I get all those driving lessons? I could have done this. It was good. Anyway, so now I'm legit. I don't. And I have to, when I'm driving down the street, think like, no, I do not fear the police. No, I don't.
You have come a long way.
I'm really trying as a person. So your podcast with Andres, who's your co-host? Sorry.
My co-host is Andres Anvelt, who was, oh my God, I always forget. He was chief of police for a long time, and then he was a minister, but I can't remember if it was the same office that Martin Helme has.
Finance? Isn't it finance now? Or foreign?
Interior? maybe interior.
Martin is
One of those.
foreign or finance.
And isn't someone interior minister? Mart Helme,
Was that
maybe.
Mart Helme?
Yeah.
He's boss. He's Gestapo boss.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Andres was not anything like Helmes. He's a wonderful guy with a great sense of humor and a lot of war stories to share. And now this week's episode, it's going to be on air on Thursday, and we recorded it via this program online, and I still haven't edited it yet, so I don't know how it turned out, because my Wi-Fi sometimes goes out. I don't know where it goes. It just like goes away. But the story is going to be about this Finnish guy who fell in love to this Ukrainian lady here in Tallinn in Amigo. Mm-hmm. It was 1996, and then this woman asked a lot of nice things, and this guy bought her the house and the car and asked her to marry him. And then when he realized that the woman probably is not going to marry him, he kind of started asking money back. At least this is what the woman said later to the police. And he came here to spend New Year's with the woman he loved, and he got burned alive. So
up until that moment, I was about to say, this sounds like Ari-Matti Mustanen's family. Actually, Finnish dad, mom's Ukrainian. I was like, the stuff. But no, okay, holy shit, burnt alive.
The woman gave him some orange juice that had this very strong eye medicine in it that made him drowsy, and then said, oh, let's go to the countryside where my parents are. And they sat in the car, and few guys were driving behind them who were this Svetlana's friends. And then they made a pit stop, killed the guy. They shot him in the head and then burned the car.
Whoa.
But it was New Year's Eve, and the next day they were already under arrest because they were still drinking at the Svetlana's family's house. And yeah, the woman, oh my God, that woman. Like, she said that it was all about this Finnish guy was very violent and wanted the money. And also she said that the guy who shot the Finnish guy was in love with her. And maybe he was, but all the guys, there were 3 guys, and they all said that, oh no, Svetlana told us to do it and promised us money. And yeah.
Dang. So they kill a guy, set a car on fire, and then go party.
Yeah, go on drinking.
Jesus. And think this is going to, I mean, what's some Wild West days to think that that's at all possible?
The woman was 33 years old, I think, and I'm 36, and I can't wrap my head around this. But also that was 90s in Estonia, when you were poor and uneducated but beautiful. Then go to Amigo and you have ways to make money and find rich husbands or foreigners who are rich compared to you.
Oh,
actually,
damn.
the Finnish guy was...
I came to this country so late. God damn it. I really wish I'd been here a few years earlier.
The Finnish guy was just a farmer. He took out a loan to buy stuff for this woman, and it's like really heartbreaking. But also a great story in itself, like great, because it's really like you see, it's like a sign of the epoch, like how you see how our society was back then.
Yeah.
And yeah, the police worked really quickly with that.
So you're in is it season 3 you're up to right now?
No, it's season 2.
Season 2.
And we only make about 8 or 9 or 10 episodes per season because it's just, there's so much digging and archives I have to go through, and we have to find the guys from the police to come and talk. And the problem is that there are a lot of great police officers from back then, but they only speak Russian. So we have a lot of good stories, especially regarding Ida-Virumaa, that we can't tell because we don't have anyone to ask to the studio.
So it's not just all stories from Andres's head. He's not just rolls in like, well, I got another one.
Oh yeah. No, it's like
no,
it's
you're
very
actually, okay.
Yeah, very structured.
Right. He might have been around then or something, but
yeah. In this case, he took down the guy who actually shot the guy, and he said that it was kind of like. It wasn't a good thing because usually you need like car commander to do the actual arresting because he just like they went to the house and he saw that there was light on in one of the rooms and the guy was just like I think he was like passed out or sleeping or something but there was also a gun and it was really funny how he kind of described that well, and I was like grunting and moaning, and then my colleagues understood that I might need help.
There's a murderous gang of 3 from the Ukraine. Led by
no, those were Estonians. The woman was only Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the 3 guys are Estonian.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that makes
young guys, 26, 27.
Okay, they're young. They're a bit stupid. They got promised all this money by Svetlana.
Yeah. Oh, Svetlana. I Googled her. She must be out from the prison, and I think has changed her name because I didn't find anyone named like that anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Smart.
Who knows where she is right now? And so this podcast is doing well. This is really cool.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that because we changed... how do you say it? I was hosted by SoundCloud, but now I'm hosted by Postimees, which makes sense. And I thought I was gonna lose some listeners, but it actually gave it a boost because now all the old episodes they're available again, and no one else makes crime podcasts here in Estonia.
Got that niche. That's great.
Yeah. I really wanna like do this ghost. The mystical thingy as well. I think there are 2 girls from Pärnu maybe who are doing this, but their thing is that they're telling the stories that I already know because every English-speaking person who is mildly interested in this topic already knows the stories.
Okay.
Like these are these very widely spread urban legends. So I'm gonna find a way
to get some Estonian ones.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is your next thing. You're coming along with the ghost story thing.
It might happen sooner because, like, to be honest, what else I'm gonna do at home right now?
Just go into an empty house. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I know nothing about like a ghost story. Like how do you find this story? Like you've just said, I'm going to go out and find unique stories. What does that even mean? What is a ghost story actually?
God, that's so philosophical.
I've never had the History Channel or whatever the fuck channel these are on, like on HBO or whatever.
Oh yeah, they're actually.
I don't actually know.
I think the what is the most well known? I'm like blanking right now.
Ghost Hunters or something.
Ghost Hunters
that I've never watched.
Yes, I think. Yeah, I think it's on History Channel. Well, I have done this. There are 3 videos we got to produce before all this shit happened, where we just had accesses to very interesting buildings with history. We went to the Harju Maakohus, which is the courthouse on Liivalaia Street. That's now empty. And
is that the one next to the kebab place across the...
Yeah.
Mr. Kebab, yeah. Mr. Kebab, no problems. Anyway, yeah, that
one. You know everything... like related to food spots.
Yeah, no, because I know... No,
you have very unique kind of...
I know Tim Reedy, who knows everything about food spots in Tallinn.
Okay.
Tim Reedy knows... Not only does he know everywhere to eat, he personally knows every shopkeep inside of that. Like, he's this Irish...
Wow.
Just talking the crack, just talking. So he talks to all these shopkeepers. Who would have thought to do that in this country? Actually,
I do it all the time.
So this is the only reason that I know why.
Okay, wow. What a unique way to think. Oh, I gotta meet this guy. Anyway, and we had this one former judge with us who were telling us all those interesting cases that went around there. And yeah, I have the spirit box machine that is actually like like a handheld radio that just switches through different stations really quickly. And the theory goes that if there's some entity, then they can like pick out like words and then throw them at you. Like if you ask a question and you get an answer that seems to be very coherent, then I like to believe that it's not coincidence.
So it's like a techno Ouija board.
Kinda, yeah. There are also some apps that I have tested, and one was really creepy, but I'm gonna save that story for my would-be podcast. But yeah, so we did that. We visited some houses. I really want to go to the Patarei prison. It's on the works right now. And also after we talked about this on TV in Õhtu, then I got some viewers who wrote me and sent me some footage of their own and asked us to come over and investigate. And it's fucking awesome.
That's great. Where are these? Who is the producer, or what? Is it going to be through Postimees online channel? Or
yeah, through Postimees. We have two very awesome camera guys / photographers who come with us. And I really want to do a sleepover at this one reader's house that seemed to be very haunted. It's very creepy. But also there's folklore. There are people who, like, their work is to collect stories, and there are people who study it. So I'm going to, I think, dig up some very interesting old lore about Estonians. Because
there's so much in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I have weird interests.
As long as you have the interest in it, that's what matters. Like the crime podcast, I can see them go for a crime to the ghost. Like I see.
Yeah, and it is trending in the world, but I'm not doing it because it's trending in the world. Well, I like that it's trendy, but I really, really like this, and it's fun for me because I don't like adrenaline much. I don't do bungee jumps or something like that, but when I'm in a creepy old house, I get my blood pumping, and it's fun, and it's very exciting. And even if it's not true per se, then it's fun for me, and I think it's just entertaining.
That's entertainment. That's all we're doing. Like, it has to be true. Like, what? Nothing's true anymore. Yeah,
like nothing is true anymore. Like, those are golden words.
You may as well do stories about ghosts in a courthouse. Like it still might be the most real thing that we're seeing on the news or the TV these days anyway. Like, are you really that bad for like just entertaining us for a while?
But it has been weird that like my name is not very like it's Dagmar. It's not very, very common name. And what we do usually, I have this colleague called Trin who is with me on camera, and we do this, and she calls herself skeptic. And we usually ask the machine or whatever, the ghosts, to say our names. And I swear to God, I have heard like few times when they say Dagmar, and it's creepy and it's fun. And I don't think it's a coincidence, but you know.
That's as long as you believe. That's all that matters. That's great. So that's going to be a show. Cool. And then the podcast. This is nice. See, I think you're doing it. Like you're a great example of what we got to do these days in the media. Like you've got to find this new shit to do. Oh, I'm just a journalist. I write articles. Yeah, guess what? You're out next week. Oh, I just do one thing. Like I was saying to Silla Kadri last, I don't know, whatever we talked one time, that, she was concerned about Corona and how this is going to affect. And she was like, well, I'm an artist. I write, I perform, I do these things, and none of these things can happen as much anymore. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I do see where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. But what about the person who's had the office job for the last 10 years? And they might have had a few different office jobs, but they're used to just having that job. And then that job goes away. And no one's hiring right now. You can't find another job. They have nothing. Where at least the media person, the artist, the whatever, is used to the hustle. You are used to, you know that you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, and I think same goes for you as well. As we said before we started recording, that it's all about making new content right now. But it was also actually before this particular crisis, because as we maybe remember, there was very volatile times in Postimees Group. There were people leaving left and right, and it was a tough time, because even though my job wasn't in danger, it was still like I could feel the nervousness. And,
it's not a good environment.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of toxic. And then even we talked about this with colleagues, that the way to stay alive is to find your niche and do things you love, because, well, you can do it. That's the pleasure of working at Postimees Group. I can basically do anything. And if you make yourself very useful and unique, then probably they will have you, unless it's like very, very specific. But that's the thing, like if you get very specific, then it's also bad.
Sure. You got to have some viewers and some, but you have to, I mean, if you're trying to find a niche, it's like, is it too nichey? Or you don't know actually until you do it. You've got to do it. And that's really tough. Like today I was just ranting on to our comedians that how important I think live streaming is right now. I think I think pre-recorded stuff is very important. Don't get me wrong, but I think that to explore live streaming options is really important for a stand-up comedian, because our thing was live. We were used to that, to working in the moment, and we can't do our stand-up on a camera live stream. I just don't think it works. Not really. Not in the same way. Not with the same magic. Right?
It has to be like I said before. It has to be something like John Oliver is doing. It has to be very structured, and it has to be a format that people can get behind.
Sure, and that's almost like it was already a show, so it kind of worked. Where I really feel like trying to do stand-up on a live stream is definitely fucking round peg, square hole stuff, right? You're just trying to jam the wrong thing through the wrong hole. Try to adapt. I spent all weekend with Twitch on. Just because, first of all, Twitch has lots of boobs. As I've discovered, loads of boobs. Just boobs, like you can play a game, there's boobs, chicks showing boobs. Oh, I'm like, this is great. This feels like the Wild West. However, there was academic purpose to my watching.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
We know how to be in the moment. So learn how to live stream and don't think of it. I don't know, comedians, I don't know how everyone else, but we think of it as like, oh, I'm going to turn on the stream. It's very formal now. We've got all the followers. I must have the structure and I know what I'm going to do because so many thousands of people, they're not thousands, but they could be watching. And my great discovery is that you've just got to turn on that camera and go for it. Just do it. Get used to it. I'm watching people cooking. Because when Silla and I turned on the live stream last Friday, it was very illuminating for me, my one experience, right? But now I'm an expert. But the first thing is I always feel an immediacy. Like I have to keep the show going, which may be true on television. You got to keep the pace up. I don't think we think the same about live streams. And I'm trying to learn to just chill. And, if it takes you 30 seconds to work it out, people still watch for a bit. It's the pace, but every sense, every spider sense, every DNA is going, do it, say something, do it. It's like being on stage. It's that same thing. When you're on stage in the lights, it's very hard to relax, take your time, say what you want to say. Yeah. And I feel it's the same thing with a live stream. So learning to take your time with it and not be so immediate with it. And I think this takes practice. Just like standing on a stage. Everything
takes practice, yeah.
Just like standing on a stage. You need to stand on a stage and just exist there and be like, okay, I'm on the stage. Cool. All right. Oh, it's not as bad. I'm not dying. I'm not having an anxiety attack. And there's 500 people watching me. And it's going to be all right. And actually, they're watching me, and I'm in control of this. And, and I think it's the same. We've got to relearn that skill for live stream. And when we relearn that skill, I think that's where our that's somewhere in that we're going to find some golds.
I haven't done stand-up, but I have been on TV a lot. Well, more than a regular person.
Sure.
And I think it's it is kind of similar, the feeling that now you're on and now you have to do it. You can't take that time. You will have to do it. And I have discovered that, first of all, TV gives me great energy. It takes a lot of energy because you have to be 200% when you're on screen. This is why all those TV personalities and also stand-up comics are very, very loud and very out there persons, because you have to give so much. But it also takes so much and it gives you back so much. So it's like this kind of weird like fluid thing that happens. But also, one thing I'm listening right now, other comics in the States are doing, I listened to this podcast called Dumb People Town, where 3 comics ask their friends to come over to the show, and they read like those news stories of people doing idiotic things. And then they joke about it. There's a sentence, and then they go off using it as a jumping ground for comedy. And now those guys started a daily podcast about current events, so they can just keep people's spirits up, and you have this like kind of unique take on things, but it's also funny and entertaining. So I feel that there's also a market for that in Estonia, to people like stand-up people to really give us this light-hearted, fun commentary about this dark stuff. Because like Stuart said, there's always like you have to make fun of it. You have to. You can't not, because we will go crazy. But I really want to see where this live streaming thing goes. Do I have to go on Twitch to see that?
No, you can. You can. It's great.
Boobs.
Games, boobs, things. There's a lot of live happening on YouTube as well. We do YouTube because that's where we got a big subscriber base, so we know we can turn on the channel. But yes, I think revisiting that idea, it's very nuanced and subtle. Like, what is the difference between recording a 1-hour podcast every day, like you said these people are doing, and talking about current events, and what's the difference between just turning on the live stream for an hour every day?
There isn't.
Not a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's little subtle differences, but not a lot.
Because the best advice anyone ever gave me when I started doing my podcast 3 years ago, it was that always record as you are on, like imagine you are live.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to edit as much. Then you will always be on this urgent mode. And I think the only difference is how your viewer wants to, like some people don't want to sit in front of live stream. They want to watch it later or hear it on their podcast app. So that's the only difference, I imagine.
Yeah, I think it can make a difference if you're taking viewer questions, which can be really exciting.
Yeah,
and then
that's true. Yeah.
Is it still as exciting? We're exploring that right now.
Yeah, it can be interactive. Yeah, that's true.
We're exploring that way. This week, Ardo and Carl from Kulapod are doing one web stream show every day with one of the other comedians. So yesterday it was, because Carl's quarantined because he lives at home, so he can't, mum and dad. So they did him and Ardo and then Daniel yesterday, and then I forget who's on today, for 5 days in a row. And it's different because I don't think they are taking not questions, but they're looking at the chat, of course. It's kind of funny. But then we're sort of asking ourselves, is this funny to watch later? It's not as interesting.
Yeah, I think
it's not terrible either.
You might feel like you're missing out.
There's something.
True.
There is something. That's what I mean. It's a subtle difference between if I record 1 hour right now and then stop and immediately upload it, to if I turn on the live stream and maybe even respond to some people. There is some difference in the flavor. Yeah,
and I think the responding thing is really crucial here, because now I remember that I have watched one live stream. Well, I also watched Robbie Williams sing karaoke. It wasn't as fun as I was hoping. But I watched one live stream on Instagram, and there's this girl who lives in Virginia, and we share a birthday, but she's 14 years younger than me, and she has a podcast about also ghosts, but also like horoscopes and things. And what she was like live streaming, she was pulling tarot cards for people. And since I got to comment and ask her to do my reading, I felt very, very special. And so, yeah, and it was very interactive because someone who was like thousands of miles away did my reading. And I got to ask for that. And I also like had some questions and comments. And that was the only reason that I was bothered to watch that.
Aren't human beings a funny group of beings? Like we're a funny group that we can just entertain each other. You were interested in that. This fucking person's on the other side of the world. You never heard of them before. They never affect your life again. But you're like, oh,
she's
this
playing
is interesting.
With tarot cards. Yeah.
We, not to dismantle the fine media groups like you might work for, but I think we're really good at entertaining one another.
Yeah, and that's the key, though.
And maybe that's it. I mean, that's what maybe Postimees is doing as a group, as you're realizing actually there's a place for a studio and there's a place for all that, but there's a big old place when we just like making each other laugh or doing something stupid or...
I think the problem with big sites like Postimees or Elu24 is, the trouble is that this content that's very personal, like my ghost stuff or like things I do for fun, also my podcasts, they tend to get lost because there's so much content. And the news feed is constantly running. And I think that maybe this could be some kind of like, how do you say it, inverted into some kind of new paywall system, that if you pay, you only get this kind of content, that you like kind of like Patreon kind of thing, because I support few artists on Patreon because I like also the feeling of personality and the connection that I get. But that's the difference. It's really hard to imagine something like this working at the big news corporation site. But it has to be possible. It has to be possible because it has worked for Cracked. But well, right now Cracked is like dismantled basically. Everything is horrible there. They laid off very many people. And the comedy site, it's not the same anymore. But yeah. There
is a place for traditional media. I mean, there is, as much as I just said, we love doing farting and laughing at each other and, on a live stream and that we can entertain ourselves. There does clearly seem to be some interest in large marquee events and shows. And I do want to watch, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like one big show or something like that, right? Like we don't always want to watch one or two people sitting at home doing that. Sometimes it is nice, or we like to watch. I mean, maybe a scripted drama is a good, we do want to watch a good TV show. That's
of course
not going away.
It's not going away. I think that even though it feels right now, there's like culture sphere is getting, is it the word? The sphere of culture is getting hit hard because there are no stand-ups, there's no theater, and all the shows are cancelled. But when it's over, and it's not if it's when it's going to be over, we need this more than ever, because as we know, it's a golden rule in entertainment. When things are bad, people need comedy. When things are good, then we can watch maybe some ghost shows.
I hope so. I hope, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but there's a famous businessman investor called Mark Cuban, and he owns Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, I love his eyebrows.
And I read a quote from him, and he said he claims he just bought stock in Live Nation for that.
Okay.
The biggest touring company in the world. putting on events and all that, and they're a huge global corporation. He said he just bought stocks. He thinks they're going to go up after the end of this.
Yeah, and he's not a stupid man. He's a very smart man.
But he could be saying anything. But at least he's saying that.
That's
You
true.
don't know. The fuck goes around saying what stocks they just bought. Fucking psychopaths. But I do think there's going to be something at the end. The question, I do find myself asking, how much money will people have at the end of this? To me, that's the X factor. Now, I think Comedy Estonia is a good position because we are very used to putting out free content. And we're very used to finding and putting out our free version, and then there's a premium version. Maybe you come to a theater show as the premium version. But still, how that balance and ratio works, it's like how, I guess, good is the economy going to be? You might say, well, if everything's gone to shit, people still want to laugh. Yes. But do they have money to give us?
Yeah, that's true.
So
there has to be money somewhere as well.
Yeah, I'm not an economist. I don't know how all this
Yeah.
crap works. Someone's got to have money somewhere. So I think about that. I think about, will they then again, maybe we're in a good situation because you can see Sander for 12 euros a ticket. You know, like you can come and see that show, and maybe that's still okay. It's not maybe 25 for Nina Metz or whatever it is, or something like that. I don't know.
And also, remember when you started? You started in the middle of the crisis, the last crisis.
Oh, was it? Jeez, I don't remember.
2008, 2009.
Sure, at the end of that. Yeah.
And that's when you started.
It's a good time in the middle of the crisis.
So you have already done this. You're going to be fine.
Well, I read...
You might be doing things maybe a bit differently, but I think it's going to be
I'm
fine.
so good with doing things differently.
Yeah.
Like I'm so good with the change and the challenge. I love that my job is to just lead people right now. I love that. I actually don't have this bullshit going on anymore. Maybe I've still got to run some events or, like as you do with any small business owner has many different things, and any small business owner still has to be involved in the groundwork and getting their hands dirty. Right now, yes, I am we got to analyze the finances. We got to work out how much money we've got, how long we can last for, shit like that, right? But really a large part of my job right now is pure leadership.
Yeah,
Talking
to be
people,
there.
yes.
Yeah.
I love
Keep
it.
the morale high. And as I told before, today we got the news about the pay cuts, and I have felt these few weeks that this is my role. Like it's more important than any content I can create is to make people feel that they are loved, they are needed, that everything they do counts, and that we will come through.
You said you're a team leader. What's your team that you lead? What's the department or group or what's the title?
I am right now. I am editor, not editor in chief, but the next guy.
Under or below?
Under.
Okay.
Of Elu24, and that means all of my previous team is now working also under Elu24. So we have news. And then we have all my other sites, pets and Sõbranna and home and health. So it's all those teemaveebid in Estonian. How I don't know how it is in English.
Okay.
So it's about 13 people who, well, there's like 20 of us together, but 13 are those who are around me, more close to me. And yeah, that's quite a...
13's quite a team to look after.
Team, yeah.
That's quite a lot.
But who looks after me?
This is what a leader is.
Yeah. It's very lonely at the top.
Oh, the glittering heights. Oh, the precarious top of the heap. Being the one under the chief editor.
Yeah. Well, I feel that it has actually brought everyone a bit closer together. Just before, when I parked, I talked to my boss, on top of my boss. And we were joking and talking about how much we miss each other and to go back to the office. And yeah, we are all battling the same loneliness and anxiety these days. And it kind of...
I liked it yesterday when Carl and Ardo and Daniel put on the live stream. I had it on just because I felt like they were there in my lounge room again.
Yeah.
Like I was back at a show, and because remember when they're all talking backstage at a show, I don't understand it for the most part. You know, it's in Estonian. Maybe if I listened, I could pick through, but I just kind of most of the times I just zone out. So it was just like that. It was just like being at a show, hearing my friends talk in Estonian in the background, not really knowing, but just hearing the sounds of their voice and the rhythm of the conversation and the chatter, and it was very soothing for me.
Yeah, we have had some Zoom conferences for work as well, but we also just like sit and have lunch together, just to like see people and talk to people, and it feels...
Just eating lunch over Skype or Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and well, it's something.
It's nice.
Now I want to really like feel what it's like to have like a Zoom party. But I can say that maybe when I'm recording my Naistejutud podcast, when we have Kristinka and Heidi, so it's like 3 girls, and I'm in my bed, they're in their beds at their homes, and we're drinking wine and recording podcast. We only should maybe add the video, so it feels kind of like not normal, but like there are people still in my life
joining you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why Silla Kadri and I are going to do another one Friday. We're going to do live, just talking, I don't know, whatever, relationships and stupid stuff and whatever, right? Like just doing it, just turning on the camera.
You mentioned relationships. There's one thing I want to talk about, because now I realize that this crisis, also all the self-isolation, I feel like I know very many couples that are probably not going to make it after this. A few of them are forced to be together. A few of them are forced to be apart. And it's bad either way. And I'm sure that there are many couples who will come out stronger. But like I want to tell everybody to just don't make big decisions right now. Like try to stay out of fights. Don't make big decisions. Don't break up with people. Just wait for this to pass and then like be calm.
You can't do anything. There's no lawyers working. What are you going to do? Where are you going to? You can't rent an apartment right now.
Exactly.
You can't move out.
Like I was so close the other night to start calling my exes to like ask, well, what do you think about our relationship? Why did it end? And I had to talk myself out of it. And like it's I understand this feeling. Like if things are not good and you feel like you're not getting enough like assurance from your partner, and you feel it's not working, and you're still like always anxious, and he's not doing or she's not doing everything you need. Like, let's end this, because it feels like that's at least something you can control in this crazy situation. But put it off. Like, just wait. Be calm.
It's good advice for all of us right now. Any big decision. That's why I don't enjoy. I think it's whenever you say I enjoy this moment, we don't enjoy the suffering.
Yeah, of course not.
All those sort of difficulties. But what I enjoy right now is that society is not telling me, what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? Oh, yeah. Have you got your fucking LHV pension fund? Have you got the second pillar sorted? Whatever the fuck it is, I don't know. Like, no one's telling us you don't have to worry about that shit for a while. No, there's not the endless self-help videos and the society in general telling you, why aren't you switched on? You can do anything. You put your mind to it. Now, that is good advice. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that, it is true. But in the world of infinite possibility, at least for my brain, that's what freaks me out and trips me up is, yes, I am perfectly capable of doing so many things. I just don't know which thing got out of the million choosing one of those things. Where now my choices are limited. For a while, I don't have to worry about my 5-year plan anymore.
And it's kind of freeing, right?
It's brilliant. I'm living in the moment, and I feel way freer than I have in years right now. We don't know how it's going to and I was very interested to listen to what you said earlier about your anxiety and how that's why I was asking you, how is it manifesting? Okay. And are you concerned about current things or future things? Because I have no anxiety right now. I'm doing all this financial analysis of the company, and you start looking, well, how many months can we last? And a fair few months. That's fine, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Comedy Estonia's got like 5 months in the bank.
Well, that's very good.
That's very good, right? That's, by all accounts, that's an excellent figure, and that's way more than a lot of companies and organizations. That's zero income, right? How can we just fucking get through this and still exist? Zero income, 5 months. But then you start going like, but that means I lose all my money. Like, all my money's fucking gone. Like, I worked for years to build that company up, to put some money in the bank. You know, maybe I was finally getting somewhere. I wasn't a loser. Like my parents thought I was a fucking idiot by, oh, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian in Estonia. Yeah, great. Career path through the roof, right? You finally got somewhere. You finally built it up. And then to think like, it's gone. Your money's just all that work. But it's not all that work because I have no control over that. Because usually society is saying if something goes wrong, there is some level of control. And it's true. I'm also not trying to take away personal responsibility. Where to me, I can so clearly say, I can't control this. And it's so clear. Now I can't control the situation. Now, what I can do is come up with many contingency plans. Mm-hmm. If this happens or that happens, and there's a few different, can we do shows in June? Can we do shows in summer? Can we do shows in April? Autumn. I can think those through. But I can't control the situation. I can only have a few contingencies. And that is the most freeing shit that I've had in years.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. You're managing really well.
And I don't know, then we're going to lose all my money and we're going to be poor. But
but this is why...
We all are.
This is why money exists in the bank to help you in situations like this.
I'm hoping.
And then you make more money.
Yeah, eventually. Yeah. That's the hope, isn't it?
Well, hopefully, yeah.
How is it kind of steering us back to the topic of the media again? Mm-hmm. You were talking today that the Postimees have asked you to make the cut, and the 30% is tied to the government. I imagine anyway. It's tied. Yeah. The government said 30%. We are also at Comedy Estonia company going to be applying for that help. And one of the criteria is that you got to cut your wages by 30%. Yeah. So we're doing something in that realm. And you've done the 30% as well. So that has hit you guys today. I also read today that they want to take Kanal Kaks public again.
Oh, I haven't heard about that.
Did I get the scoop on this one? Can I look? I'll look this up just in case.
Look this up.
Because I read it on English ERR, which means it's old news. If you read it on English ERR.
I can't imagine what's the reasoning behind that.
Did I get this right? Did I read this correct?
Is it because then more people, like the advertisements will hit more people?
Well,
and you get ratings up?
I'm trying to find the article. I'm trying to pull that shit up, Jamie, myself, because they were claiming that they want to get to more people in this crisis. They can get to more people and access more. But to me, it was like, you're not selling enough ads to your subscribers. And you think that if you get more people watching, you're not getting people subscribing, so you may as well get more people watching to sell those ad. Here we go. Postimees Group announces employee pay cuts. I see that at 2:14 this afternoon. Postimees Group plans making TV channel free during emergency situation.
Oh, it's emergency. So you mean like now? Yeah.
Yeah, but they're gonna fucking keep it that way. So. But because you got to make it free. I just thought you could make it free, but I think they want to talk about pushing it over the airways again, like putting it back on the free-to-air,
okay.
Which means they've got to broadcast, which means the government has to step in. And there's like numerous legal provisions that would quite easily allow that. I don't know how
TV works, but it sounds very complicated.
It's only a legal thing. I think it wouldn't be technically. I mean, there's transmitters and there is some technical things to broadcasting the signal. But it's not a technical problem to putting Kanal Kaks over free-to-air. Okay. It's that whenever you broadcast on radio waves and frequencies, the government controls that shit. And you can't just, you're not allowed to just make a radio station. You're not allowed to just make a TV station.
This is why I podcast.
Right. So it's like a legal thing. And usually there's a process and you've got to make an application, probably pay some money to the government every year to get your free-to-air license. That's why there's still there was only a certain number of stations and not just a million. There wasn't just a podcast TV station with some dude in Buru turning up his stereo amp and broadcasting to everybody in Buru. That's illegal. You're not allowed to broadcast that. So it's the legality of it. And they listed like 3 things, like you already can just go, yeah. Or there was some other, they still have their free-to-air license, but again, like it would take like a month to turn it back on or to go through the process.
And then it's already May.
Right. So then they're like, hey, can we just turn it on now? Which, again, they're saying, can we turn it on right now in this moment because we need to get to the people in the crisis? And you're like, your ship is sinking faster than the Titanic. You need it. You can't wait a month. You need to get some sponsors in today. I'm really going speculation here, by the way. You don't have to answer.
Yeah, I can't answer.
Of course.
Yeah, because first of all, I work for this group, but also I don't know. That's the main thing. I don't know. I know about ratings. I know that we have many great people working there, but I really don't know how television money works.
Right.
Like I don't have this knowledge. But you might be right. I haven't really, like, I just heard about this, but let's see.
It would be, to go, that would be so interesting to go back to a free-to-air model where usually we've all been going in the opposite direction recently.
But maybe there are some people who would be happy about this.
Yeah, maybe, because then we can all watch it for free again. You don't have to have a cable. I guess you've got to have a cable subscription right now to watch it.
You anyway need to have a cable. Yeah, like it just weighs way over my head.
I don't have a cable subscription, so I don't know. But
okay, you don't watch TV at all.
No, but okay. ERR is, from memory, I once plugged in an antenna and got a digital signal.
Oh,
and
okay.
I could get ERR, of course, because that's the government channel.
Yeah.
But TV column and Cox, I can't remember. Look, I'm sure someone's going to write in and tell us. Maybe I'll just plug a wire at home later on.
All right, I got to tell you, my head is starting to hurt from all this carbon monoxide I keep breathing in.
We can start wrapping it up.
It was lovely to be here, and I'm so impressed by you at the moment. Are you staying sober through all this?
I go up and down. It's a struggle. Last week was a bit off the rails. If you were listening, if you saw me in Silicudry live, we were knocking back the red.
Okay.
I was still smoking a bit last week, and then I really felt burnt out by the weekend. And it's a classic artist thing that whatever it is, whether you do stand-up or, whatever it is you do, and then you start drinking or abusing whatever substance that might be, and then you feel down and you feel bad, and you think that you need it. You think that you need a drink to get through, but you don't.
I think it's like addiction thing, and I'm very prone to addiction as well. And I started with being sober for like few weeks when the Lent started, and then the shit started like flying, and I was like, oh, okay, I can have a few drinks, and then kind of like when all the days blend together. Like I have discovered it's very hard to kind of keep the sober pace.
It's really hard, isn't it?
And so that is a struggle.
This week I'm sober, but last week, not so much.
Yeah, tomorrow it's my podcasting.
Is that the Nice to Let one tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, do you girls have a drink when you're doing that?
Yeah, we don't have to have, but that's the thing. I don't have to, but I am sitting on my bed. So
it's really hard to not when you.
Yeah, I hoping that all the people who want to stay sober are staying sober, and I don't know how many resources there are in Estonia, but there's online resources. So stay strong.
I was checking last night whether there are online 12-step programs, because I was interested. I've been interested for a while in the idea of a 12-step program, like Alcoholics Anonymous. Right?
I know what it is, yeah.
And going to those. And I think there are some that exist in Estonia a bit.
I know there was also an English-speaking one because one of my exes tried that, but it kind of like, I think it, I don't know, since he's my ex, and he doesn't live in Estonia anymore. But I have been also searching for, since I was like binging on books that talked about sobriety, and it kind of like turned me into finding what kind of apps there are. And I found a website called Soberistas. So it's for females, but well, I only like logged in once and, and then thought, oh, maybe next week. Because this week already like,
It's a write-off.
So yeah, I kind of like this is my main, like my very personal worry, that the spiraling when you don't have to go out, it's too easy to kind of like go where you don't want to go.
Yeah.
But let's end on a positive note.
Yes. Because I always thought, because when I was in Atlanta in summer with my friend Dita, I actually went to an AA meeting because I was still dealing with getting over substance abuse, too much from me, whatever your own personal level is with too much substance, right? Too much
if you
for
feel
me.
it's a problem, then it's a problem for you. Yeah.
But I understood I can't find this in Estonia. Or maybe it did exist, but, you know, what do I... Like, really? I expect to find a fucking AA meeting in Estonia? Of course. There are some things that you just can't get living in a foreign country. But I took the opportunity to go to a session in Atlanta. And I got up morning, I took a taxi to some place, and I just walked in and sat. I even told my story. It was really nice. And it was good to just... I just wanted to understand what this thing is. It was nice.
Yeah, actually, when I was driving here, I thought about what we're going to talk about today. And since you kind of mentioned that let's talk about the stuff you're doing right now, and I was like, well, I really kind of feel like I'm ready to talk about this, because I think I'm getting out of the denial phase that this sober thing is something I really need to focus on for a while. And it's really, really not an easy thing to admit, but this, like, talking about this to someone, it already feels so good. Like, it feels good. So I kind of understand why those meetings would be really beneficial.
Do you want to? I mean, I know we're kind of done over an hour now, and it's one of those days.
Yeah, no, I'm so woozy already.
Have to think about that. Maybe later on, let's think about another episode.
Yeah,
where we can take a time, relax, take it slow. We don't have to keep the pace of conversation up. But if you want to talk about that, it's something I'm into talking about as well, like dealing with substance abuse.
Aww, it's so cute. Let's do that. Oh my God, Luis has asked me to talk about substance abuse.
Are you drunk? Because I'm a drunk. Talk about being a drunk.
So yeah, let's do that.
All right. Dagmar Lamp, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.